Breaking news in the Harvey Weinstein trial. The jury has reached a partial verdict. There are 5 counts against him in 2 rape cases, and the jury has unanimously come to terms on counts 2, 4, and 5, but they were not unanimous on counts 1 and 3. I want to bring in criminal defense attorney Sara Azari. She is the illegal mind here. And Sarah, it's fascinating because the prosecutors said, go back, we want you to keep deliberating. The defense said, no, we're ready. We'll take this verdict as is.
You know why? Because counts 2, 4, and 5 are the underlying crimes, and it sounds to me like this might be a guilty verdict on those counts.
And we don't know that.
We don't know that.
Right.
I'm speculating based on how the verdict form is set for the jury. Because unless, if he's not guilty of counts 2, 4, and 5,
right,
they can't be deliberating on count 1 and 3. Count 1 and 3 is an enhancement that attaches only if they find him guilty of the underlying crimes.
Yeah.
So I think why the defense is saying we're okay with just the 2, 4, and 5 is because he's facing less time on the 2, 4, and 5. He's facing 5 to 25 on the first-degree counts, and then he's facing probation to 4 years on the third-degree rape.
And you mentioned that counts 4 and 5 are redundant because one is rape in the first degree, the other is rape in the third degree. You can't be guilty of both. Correct.
Counts 4 and 5. 4 is forcible rape, and count 5 is there's no force used. It's just simply against the person's consent.
Copy that. It's important to note that it's, in the East, 2:58:59. It's almost 3 o'clock. We were told the jury would only deliberate today till 3 o'clock because they had other commitments. We don't know if that has changed. We believe the jury is still in there, but we don't know if the 3 o'clock deadline has changed. So if for some reason they have to leave at 3 o'clock, they have to wrap it up, come back Monday morning. And for the Weinstein lawyers, this is a very tense weekend.
Absolutely, and I think his lawyer had a funeral to go to that she's not going to be able to make. And it's critical because counts 1 and 3 are where he's facing 10 years to life.
So we got counts 1 and 3 are inconclusive. We don't know. We know that 2, 4, and 5, they have a verdict. We don't know guilty or not guilty yet. They're still but when you say, because Annabella Sciorra, the actress who used to be on The Sopranos, her testimony is critical. The charge wasn't based on that. It's confusing because they didn't charge her crime, and yet her testimony is critical. Explain that to us.
Right. So her allegations fall outside the statute of limitations in New York. So the prosecution could not use her as a victim. But they certainly could use her to establish a pattern of assaultive behavior by Weinstein in order to attach the predatory sexual assault as really an enhancement, to attach that enhancement to those underlying crimes. Now, one thing I want to add is that the 3 other counts, the 2 predatory sexual assaults are the enhancements, but the 3 other underlying counts, there's one for the first-degree criminal sexual act, which is the oral copulation regarding Mimi Haley.
Right.
And then the other 2 are either forcible rape in the first degree or rape just without consent in the third degree. Weinstein cannot be found guilty of both of those rapes. It's one incident. So they either have to find him that he was guilty of raping Jessica Mann by force or use of force or threat of use of force, or that it was simply against her consent.
Yeah, Brian was saying that the most serious charges, count 1 and 3, carry the most significant time. But you're talking about the rape charges. Count 2, count 4, and count 5 are also significant. If he's convicted on those 3 counts, he's still going away for a very long time.
He is. So on the first-degree counts, which is the criminal sex act or the first-degree rape, he's facing, I believe it's 5 to 25 years in prison. And for the third-degree rape, he's facing anywhere from probation to 4 years. And I just want to add this, that no matter what this verdict turns out to be, it is absolutely critical to this MeToo movement. If he's acquitted, it's a punch in the gut.
Right.
If he's convicted, it is going to redefine the idea of consent in a very, very dangerous way, to where men have to read minds. And as a criminal defense attorney, that is really scary to me.
A lot of people were saying, it's interesting about this case because no police officers testified during this whole thing.
Correct.
And what does that tell you? I mean, all the cases you look at, there was no police officer, no investigators testifying. What did that tell you when you looked at this?
Well, these are different times. We're just looking at women, believing women, empowering women, and really sort of looking at their testimony as gold. And unfortunately, I think in this case, again, I don't know how this verdict's going to turn out, so I don't have a crystal ball, but, either way, the testimony of these women had a lot of problems in it. There was a lot of doubt that the defense raised via credible witnesses that were called for the defense and also their own emails with Weinstein. Right. I think the prosecution had some problems. And I also want to add this, that the prosecution, I think, made a big mistake of presenting the theory of the Beauty and the Beast, that Harvey Weinstein was such a monster, that he was so lacking in hygiene, that he was deformed sexually, that all these things, that no beautiful woman could possibly want to touch a man that looks like that. Yeah. And I think that cheapened the case, and it also diminished their credibility.
Though it's also worth noting, Harvey Weinstein is still facing allegations in California, so
Absolutely.
He's got a long road to go, even if he is acquitted of some of these charges here, and we're going to find out more. I've got to go, but Sarah had a new book you wanted to quickly promo?
Yes, my new book is Unprecedented, A Simple Guide to the Crimes of the Trump Campaign and White House. It's about the Mueller investigation, and it's out in Amazon and in bookstores March 1st.
I'm Trace Gallagher. Thanks for joining us.